scoring, from the United Kingdom, Steve Gray. From Russia, Yuri Kopsev. From Mexico, Alejandro Lopez. And in charge of the action at the bell, your referee, championship veteran from the United Kingdom, Terry O'Connor. And now, the officials are ready. The fighters are in the ring, and they are ready. Fight fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner with his trainer Dave Caldwell, wearing Everton blue and white, official weight 14 stone, 3 pounds, 5 ounces. His professional record an excellent one in 32 fights, 30 victories, including 20 wins by knockout, 2 defeats, and 1 draw. Over the past 5 years, he's undefeated, winning 10 in a row, 8 by knockout. Undefeated as a cruiserweight. He's the fighting pride of Liverpool and all of the United Kingdom. The former cruiserweight champion of the world, Tony Bellew. And fighting out of the red corner with his trainer, Yuri Tkachenko. He's wearing white with gold and officially weighed in at 14 stone, 2 pounds. In 2012, in the London Olympics, he captured Olympic gold. And now, as a professional, a perfect record. 15 fights, 15 victories, including 11 big wins by knockout. And he's ranked among the best as pound for pound, the best in the world. From Kiev, Ukraine, the reigning, defending, undefeated, undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world, Oleksandr Usyk.
It is another one of those moments.
Spots in the change room, you know what to expect. Let's have a good clean fight. Shake hands, best of luck to both. God bless you.
The bomber tattooed on his back is of course a reference to his potent punch power and not in any way insensitive to the tragedy which unfolded in this arena when Ariana Grande performed Manchester. We'll never forget. This venue, a sporting cauldron. We've seen classics, topsy-turvy tales, heroes made, and shocks aplenty. Is something in the air again as Tony Bellew attempts another tremendously hard mission? Or will Oleksandr Usyk prove his complete authority at cruiserweight before catapulting into the magic mix of the heavyweight division? The truth, as always, in the ring. A mighty matchup about to unfold. Here we go.
Wow, what an atmosphere, what a build-up. And here we are in the opening round, the anticipation. We're just on the edge of our seats. This will be tentative early on, I expect. Tony Bellew to box and move. Nobody's going to commit early.
The huge physique of the terrific southpaw from Kiev in the Ukraine. How will Bellew come to terms with the southpaw start? He's fought 5 of them through his career. He had trouble with Bob Adjusaf. He was stopped by Adonis Stevenson and he got up off the floor to take out Makabu for the world title at Goodison Park. He says the southpaw style won't be a problem. What about the momentum of Usyk, who's right approaching the top of his game? Tony Bellew, Eddie Hearn and the team say, is getting better and better.
Yeah, he's certainly been a lot more active, Usyk. You know, this follows on from the Super Series, World Super Series of boxing, which he won. He cleaned up a couple of really high quality level fights in that as well. Obviously Tony Bellew coming off the back of the 2 David Hay fights. So we're expecting him to come in here full of confidence, but he knows this mammoth task in front of him.
Bellew grabbing centre ring and trying to double up the jab. He's always had an authoritative jab. But Usyk has the angles and the movement and the rhythm.
Yeah, Tony Bellew's got good ring awareness. He knows where he is also. You know, he's got bags of experience, amateur and professional, and he knows if he's out of range, he's pretty safe. You know, it's only dangerous when they come together, but he can't sit back and just pot shot and hope to steal a victory against somebody like Usyk, who's so technically proficient and so busy with his work. Doesn't really look for power, Usyk, but Tony Bellew just seems really relaxed and confident and finding a home for that jab early on here. It's a good start really from Tony, but Usyk really just finding his feet.
Trying to get his own rage, Usyk, nothing landing at all just yet, but Bellew starting confidently. What will happen when Usyk unloads his first meaty combination? Bellew admitted he cannot let himself get backed up, gloves high, and let Usyk unload on him. Does he turn it into a dogfight early, or does he try and counter at range?
I think I'd like to see him sit back at range until something happens. If it's not working at range for Tony Bellew, he needs to then try and close that gap. Usyk can box so well behind that southpaw stance, and he's just trying to close that gap now. Usyk just fakes and pouring out with that right jab from the southpaw stance. Southpaws cause everybody problems. I don't care what you say. I mean, doesn't mean you always lose against them, but it's hard to get the sparring against these left-handed fighters.
Paulie, Dave, thoughts on the opening round?
Yeah, I thought he felt his way through the round. He didn't take anything of any note. I think neither fighter really established any type of jab or any type of foothold in the fight. But for me, it was an even round.
I think Tony actually won that round. I saw Usyk trying to create, but he never really landed anything. Not that Tony landed anything cleanly, but Tony caught arms. Tony landed some more shots that you could hear, shots that you could try.
When you start getting used to it, time it, like you said, you drop, throw the right hand downwards. Don't core it and don't load on it. Don't load the left up, you come back to speed.
Dave Cole, who's become one of the best trainers around. They've got a wonderful relationship, very close, Tony and Dave. The Everton colours, Ashley on the waistband, a tribute to the brother-in-law he tragically lost. Wife Rachel in one of the boxes here tonight. She doesn't normally come. Fighting for his family and maybe for the last time, Tony Bellew. Oleksandr Usyk trying to cement his reputation as the cruiserweight king, the undisputed champion who holds every single belt. And it's the first time ever that all 4 belts have been defended or challenged for on these shores. It's a momentous night. There's Usyk's jab just getting going here in the second.
Yeah, it's a bit of a standoff between these two at the minute, and it's understandable. I mean, there's so much at stake. Tony Bellew punches hard. Usyk will be aware of that from watching the show reel knockouts that he'd been watching on the build-up to this, and Tony Bellew will know that Usyk can box and move very proficiently and, you know, with expertise, so they'll stand off. Usyk won't want to step in and walk into something, and Bellew really doesn't need to go for it. The weight of expectation, don't forget, is on Usyk. He's expected to win. He's got all the marbles, all the belts coming into this fight, so Tony Bellew can kind of take his time for a couple of rounds and settle into this.
And the bookmakers giving Bellew little chance. Most of the trade have predicted Usyk by late stoppage or on points. Good shot from Bellew there. Jamie Moore was telling us the other week he fancies Bellew strongly. Adam Boo thinks he's got a really good opportunity here as he tries to work the Usyk body. Bellew talking about that in the build-up, that Usyk's been hurt to the body as an amateur.
Listen, Tony Bellew getting close here with that looping jab that goes over the top of the southpaw jab. It's an awkward shot to defend against from the southpaw once it goes over that reach. But Tony looking for power to the body and landing. Also with the right hand there. This is good work from Tony Bellew early on.
It's an excellent start, and he wants Usyk to engage, and so the crowd. And how's the Ukrainian going to react?
Well, this is all part of the mind games from Tony Bellew, and this is all part of a performance.
Bellew says Usyk has never been tested properly, never been in deep. Yes, he's unified the division, but he says he's going to land his big punches, and the power will be the difference. It's a confident start, this, from Bellew.
Really confident. He's setting traps here. He's trying to lure Usyk in. He's trying to draw him in so he can land a big counter punch. And here it comes. Tony Bellew not too worried about the power of Usyk, so he's able to take the odd chance. But Usyk, I don't think, will fall into the trap of leading in, but he seems to be looking a bit careless here.
Bellew switching to southpaw, one of the first times I've ever seen that through his long career. He's trying to confuse Usyk, not let him get set. And when they're getting close, he wants to unload. And Bellew says, come on then.
Real confident start here from Tony Bellew. I mean, I'm impressed with what he's doing because he's not doing too much wrong, not making any mistakes. And he's drawing in Usyk there and making him walk into counter punches.
Big round for Bellew. I had him completely dominating that round. He was making Usyk miss, he was making him pay. He was doing to Usyk what everybody was expecting Usyk to do to Tony Bellew. He really got a real foothold in the fight. In the first round I had even, this round I had to Bellew in a big way.
Usyk is starting to feel the pressure of having to create something. He knows the weight of the expectation is on him, and he's starting to try to rush his work. I thought he's had a good start to round two with some good jabs, but once Tony got going, Tony's ability to wait everything out works to his advantage because the weight of expectation is on Usyk, and he's starting to feel that pressure to create something.
David, you said before, you don't know how good Bellew is until you share a ring with him. That he doesn't look all that on video, on paper, but when you're actually in there with him, and he's very good at making an opponent fight the way he wants him to fight.
Exactly, he's got a way of changing the flow of the fight. He's got a very good knack for getting his opponents to do what he wants to do.
Oleksandr Usyk takes centre ring and comes out fast for the third round. There is pressure on those big shoulders. He wants to move up to heavyweight. He wants a shot at Anthony Joshua. That's the dream for the tight team from the Ukraine. This is meant to be the showcase fight.
I was talking earlier and I was saying, you know, don't underestimate Tony Bellew's boxing ability. If he doesn't want to get hit, he's able to drag that foot just back half a step and move in circles, not in straight lines. He's good at it. So Usyk's going to have to create openings. He's going to have to make something happen with his feet. See his feet here, he's bouncing lightly. He's pulling with that southpaw jab and putting pressure on Tony Bellew here. He knows he's got to start to get to work and start to land some shots. So Bellew will be waiting with that right hand counter there, which wasn't far away from landing with full effect. I mean, he just caught the end of that one there, but as Usyk draws closer, Bellew will be waiting for that counter punch. And if he connects, it's going to cause problems, it really is.
Oleksandr Usyk so supreme as an amateur, 335 wins, only 15 defeats, but it is different against a seasoned pro who's seen all styles, knows the tricks of the 12-round distance. Usyk unbeaten, but he's walking into these right hands.
Good right hand counter there from Tony Bellew. Nobody expected this. Good head movement, and he just, nonchalantly shakes his hands on his head. Oh, caught a little bit tricky there, Tony Bellew. Got a little bit careless, and there's hand speed there of Usyk showing.
Yep, they swap punches. And the crowd so vociferous in their support and their boos. Many in Britain want Tony Bellew to triumph in his last potential fight, but many in the Ukraine and around the world, including his best mate Vasyl Lomachenko, want Oleksandr Usyk to show what he really can do. Starting to warm up, Usyk. Still a bit cat and mouse, Carl.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stand-up at cat and mouse, like you say. Tony Bellew waiting for the counter. Usyk unsure. He's not confident in committing with anything. And there's Tony Bellew on the attack there and putting Usyk straight away on his back foot.
These right hands are the answer at the moment. And he's avoiding the big left of the southpaw. Utilising his feet really well, Bellew, when most people felt it would be the other way round.
Usyk's had it all his own way his whole career, and all of a sudden he's finding himself in the Lions Den here in Manchester against Tony Bellew, who's got the backing of the crowd. This is unknown territory. Another great round for Tony Bellew.
Once again, this is what I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting Tony Bellew to be outboxing Usyk. Usyk is supposed to be this supreme boxer. He's just got outboxed for 2 rounds on the spin. I was not expecting this. I was expecting Tony Bellew to maybe pot shot, maybe throw 1 shot here or there. But he's landing the jabs, he's landing the body shots, he's completely controlling the rounds. And he's got Usyk looking a little desperate in there.
And again, Usyk will feeling that weight of expectation, and the cat and mouse game serving Bellew well. He's not very busy, but it serves to make Usyk feel the pressure that he's got to create something. Everybody expects him to be this great fighter. Everybody expects all that, so he's almost in a rush now as we're into the 4th round, and he still hasn't created much. And he's stuck. That impatience, that inexperience in the pros is starting to cost him a little bit.
Johnny Nelson and Matt Macklin sat just behind us in a bit of amazement, as is Derek Chisora, who's a big mate of Tony Bellew's. Here's the Liverpudlian outboxing the master here. Oleksandr Usyk has plenty of time to get into his work, but can he work Bellew out? He's making it tricky here. And is he winning rounds, Bellew?
He certainly is. I mean, the first round for me was even. You couldn't really score anyone to win the first round. It's a bit of a standoff, but
oh, big left hand from Usyk. First real success from the world cruiserweight king. Bellew takes it.
Well, if Bellew switches off against somebody like Usyk, who's very quick on his feet, he's got fast hands, he doesn't look for power. Bellew's looking for power, so that slows the punches down.
But doesn't Bellew want it in a phone box if they trade?
He does. He wants this up close, but he could do with getting it up close a bit later when Usyk slows down a bit. So the tactics from Bellew are perfect. Usyk needs to get a foothold in this fight, or he could run away from him, and then late on it becomes Tony Bellew's fight. But Usyk doing the right things here, backing up Bellew. Gonna have to get that jab going, Usyk.
Yeah, he's normally got a one-like jab. Oleksandr Usyk, who we saw give Vladimir Klitschko loads of trouble in sparring a few years ago, and this is better from the Ukrainian, and he's trying to set up the big left hand.
Well, he knows he's got to change it up now. He's been probably told. That looked like a good right hand there from Tony Bellew. On the blind side of it there, I mean, Usyk's back was to me, but Bellew was in range of that right hand, and that's what he's looking for. That right hand right there.
Big shot from Tony Bellew, and Usyk momentarily troubled halfway through the 4th round.
Well, Tony Bellew knew that he landed that right hand then. He didn't rush in, he's still taking his time, but he won't take too many of them right hands to land to really put Usyk on his back foot in some serious trouble.
Usyk trying to dig the punches in. Left hand gets through. Really engaging session this. Minute to go in the 4th. Well, nice right hand as well. And Usyk just nods appreciation.
Well, really hotting up now. I mean, Tony Bellew landing big shots, looking for them and landing them as Usyk backs him up. Did they affect him? Is he too worried about this, Usyk? Has he been hurt? We don't know yet, but he will certainly have felt that power. If it's not bothered him, he will keep coming forward.
Still inching forward, Usyk.
If Tony Bellew lands big shots like that and doesn't have much of an effect and starts to feel the pace as it goes on, then it's bad news. Some good work there as Tony Bellew dropped his arms and, you know, got a bit careless.
Nice left hand from Usyk. Back comes Bellew. Both finding their timing and range, and listen to the crowd. Loving it.
Well, Tony Bellew trying to match him in and say, look, I'm as good as you. Whether or not he believes it, he's trying to show that in there.
Who would have thought Tony Bellew was an 8-1 underdog going into this fight? Absolutely boxing out of his. I've never seen him fight this well.
I had Usyk winning that round, guys. I mean, Tony landed a couple of shots, but we can't make it the kind of fight where we're looking for an excuse to give Tony a round just because he lands a shot. I thought Tony landed a couple of good shots that round, but I thought Usyk won the round.
Totally agree with you, Paulie. I thought that was Usyk's best round. I think he really found his range. Bellew did have success, but Usyk growing in confidence as well.
Usyk landed a fantastic shot on Bellew early on in the fight, and then Bellew turned the tables and started landing his shots and buckling the legs of Usyk a couple of times.
Switch back on, right? When you come up,
Dave Caldwell saying get back on it, back on the tactical plan. I wind back to that night, Carl, when you fought Lucian Bute and everybody was writing you off, including me, against an unbeaten southpaw, and you turned the tables and stopped Bute in this very round, the fifth.
That's why boxing is such a wonderful sport. You can look at all the paperwork and do the statistics on the build-up and look at the history, but at the end of the day, it's a two-horse race and anything can happen.
But how much confidence will that give Usyk? The fact that he began to get to Bellew in the fourth.
Well, Usyk was on his fair share on the receiving end of Bellew's power in that round. He had moments of success, but Bellew landed some good power shots for me, and he was enjoying himself in there, or at least trying to allude to the fact that he was enjoying himself. And Usyk doesn't seem phased, still coming forward, still trying to work on them light feet behind that jab, but he needs to start putting punches together, because Tony Bellew's quite happy to sit back and look for that counter.
Very intelligent man, Oleksandr Usyk. Writes poetry, loves solving puzzles. Great sportsman as well in different varieties. The world title wins. Marco Hook, Maris Bradis, Murat Gassiev. Stopped Hook and went the distance with Gassiev and Bradis. Is Bellew better than them?
Well, you can't really say. I mean, styles, as we know, it's an old cliche, but they really do make fights. And you look at the paper, you look at the the results of fighters and say, he would probably beat him. But nobody's giving Tony Bellew a chance coming into this. And look at the performance we're getting. Usyk now is having to force this and try and get something going, while Tony Bellew's able to sit back and land
good
combinations
with a left hook from Tony Bellew. Usyk floored in the amateurs with punches like that, but then he took out heavyweights like Joe Joyce. A machine, so many calling him. Usyk looking for a lovely, quick countering left. The class is beginning to show of Oleksandr Usyk. He's getting going.
Well, he's just starting to land with that jab. I mean, Tony Bellew having his fair share of success as well, but Usyk's able to jab and land a couple of backhand from the southpaw position. So Bellew knows now that the pressure's going to start heating up as this fight goes on. Good right hand from Bellew. You know what Usyk's moaning about there. Good sportsman. There's a lot of respect in there, Adam.
There's been great respect all through the build-up. Right hand from Bellew, just overreaching, and a lovely jab from Usyk.
That's the danger. If Usyk finds a home for that jab, he'll be able to work with combinations off that jab. Tony Bellew does not want to sit there and let a southpaw jab land.
Still the right hands from Bellew. Hasn't seen much of the left hook yet. Usyk not allowing that, but that's good stuff from Tony Bellew. And he's got a grip down on his gum shield there, Oleksandr Usyk. It's the fighting man from Liverpool against the polished, beautiful artist from Kiev. Let's get over to Derek Chisora for his thoughts with Andy.
Derek, you were one of the few that gave Tony a chance in this fight. Is it planning out how you thought it would?
Yeah, for the first rounds, Tony was coming with some big punches, and right now he's kind of coming off his game plan. I don't know why, but he's got a big punch in him because Usyk has felt the power already. So we just know Tony, at any minute, he can just release that left hook.
What were you shouting to him at the end of the round there?
I was shouting to let it go on the moment because he's staying in the pocket too long. So when he's on the corner, he's not letting his shots go.
What do you think Usyk can do to get back in it if you have Bellew ahead in this fight?
Usyk needs a knockout. They both need a knockout because right now, I don't know, I can't even score it right now.
But do you get the impression Tony's ahead?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
10 seconds, Chris.
There's the treasure.
Seconds out. Round 6.
Tony Bellew says he will take all of the 5 belts back to his family tonight. The ultimate challenge in what he promises is his last battle. 13 weeks of punishing training the pair. Carl has Bellew 3 up.
Couldn't separate them in the first round, couldn't separate them in the fifth, but giving round 2, 3 and 4 to Tony Bellew without any question, really.
I scored it exactly the same as you, Carl. I definitely think those, the first and the fifth round, were too tight to call.
I gave Tony the first 3 rounds, guys, and I haven't given him a round since. I gave Usyk round 4, and I had the last round even. Usyk's still struggling to get control of this fight, even if he hasn't lost a round in my eyes since the third.
Matt and Johnny behind him have got it 3-2 to Bellew. So close into the 6th round. Few people thought it would. Many talking about a masterclass from start to finish from Oleksandr Usyk. It's been anything but. Tony Bellew has not let him get settled. Nice work from Bellew as he moves around him.
Yeah, good job then, just shifts off in circles, not straight lines. It's the straight lines, especially against the southpaw. If you go back, you're on the end of punches. Bellew knows exactly what he's doing. He's got bags of experience. He's a top quality fighter. And, you know, you've got to sing the accolades of Usyk, but still a difficult task to try and break down Tony Bellew when he's waiting for you with that big right hand and left hook.
And he's teased us all week, hasn't he? Not telling us his tactics, saying I'll just go and knock him out. But many believe that he would counter-punch, that he would try and outbox the boxer if he could possibly do that. Because Dave Colwell's got the tactics right against David Hay a couple of times. Against Makabu, it was more, you know, the thrill of the battle. But hats off to the team at the moment.
Tony Bellew doing a great job with that jab, and as he's backed up looking for the right hand, he's able to jab again. But he is getting backed up here, and the way this is going, if this carries on, you expect it to start to turn towards Usyk, because Bellew using a lot of energy, he's thinking a lot, and he's loading up with big power shots. Usyk, I feel, can keep doing this for longer periods of time, and as it draws on, it will go in his favour.
He's certainly doing far more 3-6 than he did 1 and 2. Oleksandr Usyk, very tight on line. A lot of people having their opinions. Very subjective, of course, scoring a fight. The 3 judges at ringside, ultimately the only ones that matter. Would Tony Bellew's team have taken this at the halfway point, and would Oleksandr Usyk's?
Well, we'll see. I mean, it is very close. I've got Bellew ahead because round 2, 3 and 4 was good, but good right hand counter there from Tony Bellew, and that's the danger for Usyk if he sits there, but he smiles as that lands. I mean, he had a good round, Usyk, and now he's being backed up with right hands that are landing. Tony Bellew's tactics are good. He looks like he's breathing a bit heavy, and Usyk looks comfortable.
Good shot from Usyk right on the bell. Bellew's legs just wobbled.
That was really careless of Bellew. Biggest shot of the round on the bell, for that 6th round. And the biggest one, and you know, that might have taken a little bit out of him. Up until that point, I felt that Tony Bellew was in the round, in the fight. He was enjoying himself in there, and it was Usyk who was struggling. He was looking for the big shots and couldn't find them.
I was actually struggling to see who I was going to give the round to, and then Usyk literally commanded at the end of it with that last punch, almost dropping Bellew.
Really careless there from Bellew, because the bell went, he dropped his gloves, and Usyk kept punching, and you can't stand in punching range, defend yourself at all times, and that hook clipped Bellew on the chin, and you saw the effect that had. I'm hoping that's not taken too much from Bellew, but that's a bad finish there to round 6 for Tony Bellew.
In a tight fight like this, you can't afford to get shaken to your boots. You really can't. It could be the difference between the swing of this fight.
Was that a key moment for Oleksandr Usyk as we enter the 2nd half? WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO, 14 stone 4 cruiserweight belts on the line, the white and yellow of Oleksandr Usyk, who has definitely stepped it up dramatically. Tony Bellew pot-shotting as he lost some of the rounds, though, recently, the British fighter. Usyk growing in confidence and starting to really get his boxing into a pattern, Carl.
He is, yeah, as at the same time Tony Bellew looks like he's starting to tire and slow down, and he's looking for power shots which drains the energy. I mean, we're starting the 2nd half of this contest now. I know Tony Bellew's had a fantastic start, but I just feel that Usyk is setting up now for a great finish.
Usyk with a left hand to the body. Does he feel that Bellew's weight making might be an issue? The first time in 2 years he's had to hit 14-4. Dave Colwell was saying he's done it perfectly, cut out the bread, all the rubbish, done it sensibly, but it's still a big ask.
It's a massive ask, and I think David Hayes got something to say here.
Yeah, the body shots from Usyk in this round is a really big body assault from the start of this round. At the end of that round, his corner master said, let's start working Tony Bellew's body. Once you get clipped to the chin and your body becomes weaker and they start having more effect.
Also, Usyk has changed his left hand a little bit. He's sometimes whipping it up from the side now as a hooking position, like that. That's how he hurt Bellew in the last round, and he's starting to throw it differently.
There he goes again. Looking concerned for Tony Bellew on his back foot as he sits on these ropes. He's looking a little bit phased and dazed and a little bit tired as Usyk backs him up here.
Comes back with a combination, Bellew, but Usyk just smiles at him through that gun shield, and the left hand working a treat for Oleksandr Usyk.
Yeah, this is the first time in the contest where I feel that Tony Bellew's just breathing a bit heavy and backing up, looking for air. Maybe, I hope he's playing possum, but I doubt it against somebody of Usyk's quality, because that would be dangerous.
11 knockouts on the slate for Usyk in those 15 wins. Both can punch.
Bellew's right hook has worked a treat so far. When he's up against the ropes 3 or 4 times throughout the fight, he swung the right hook and countered and landed on Usyk as he was punching.
Another right hand from Bellew, but it's single shots.
And it can be deterring as well. When you land a big shot and there's no effect, it can put you off and you know, take that confidence away. And Tony Bellew's landed, he's connected with a couple of heavy shots here, and Usyk just comes forward with that smile.
Yeah, he's backing Bellew up again into the neutral corner. There's that left hand. Shown a great chin at cruiserweight, Bellew, and at heavyweight, as we saw against David. And now he's going for it. Tries to turn it into a dogfight, but he lost the round.
Yeah, I give that round to Usyk. I think he controlled the large majority of the round. Tony Bellew looking like he was getting a bit of a breather on the ropes for the majority of it.
2 things adjustments Usyk has made. The mental pressure and cutting off the ring has been very, very consistent, and that causes fatigue from Bellew, even though the pace of the fight has not been crazy as far as punch output. It's fatiguing when a guy consistently cuts the ring off. That's one adjustment. The second adjustment, again, is his left hand Usyk throws. He had been throwing it mainly straight. Now he's starting to throw it from the side, as we see in this replay here. It's coming in an arcing way, and it's changing the trajectory of the shot. While Bellew is making the same slipping motion where the straight left hand will go over his head, now that same slipping motion is getting him caught from the hooking left hand. And mind you, it's the same kind of left hand that hurt him at the end of a couple of rounds ago.
Former world cruiserweight champions Johnny Nelson and David Hay here. Evander Holyfield's many picks for the best that's ever lived. Oleksandr Usyk wants to finish his cruiserweight reign here and then move up to heavyweight. That's what 2019 has mapped out. He wants Dillian White. He wants Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, any of those. First, he's got to take care of Tony Bellew, but it's looking brighter for the Ukrainian, much brighter.
Yes, Alexander Usyk starting to wear down Tony Bellew now. We can see that the effects of Usyk's constant pressure on Tony Bellew is starting to wear him out. I mean, for Bellew to be able to throw power shots consistently over 12 rounds, the size of him, it's a difficult ask. And, you know, the longer this draws on, the worse it gets for him. But he did the right thing at the end of that last round, because he tried to make it a dogfight.
Blinking a fair bit as well, Tony Bellew. I don't know if something's irritating him in his right eye. Keep a look out for that. Slight bit of blood to the nose as well. And it's the body language, and it's the physical manoeuvring around the ring of Usyk now. Bellew backed into a corner again, but he will try everything he can, Bellew, even if he is losing these rounds.
Backing off with blood coming out of his mouth, looking a bit unsteady on the legs, Tony Bellew, looking like he's wearing down, and these jabs and left crosses now, like that one, will send the blood splattering.
Yeah, big left hands from Oleksandr Usyk, and trouble for Bellew here in the 8th round. Usyk with a beautiful jab, and he's finding the chin of Bellew with more regularity.
Yeah, really starting to get home now with these quality punches from Usyk, and you can see Tony Bellew wearing down, still looking for that right hand, still gallant and still brave, but Usyk is really closing this gap with real, you know, minimum effort.
And that's lights out for Tony Bellew. Dave Colwell straight in the ring. I think he's going to stop it, and Oleksandr Usyk finds the answer and cements his place as the world cruiserweight king. He had a rough start. Tony Bellew astonishing rhythm and found a shot that laid Bellew out. And Tony Bellew's brave effort comes to an end. But hats off to the way Oleksandr Usyk turned that around and made it his fight and his night.
You know what, after such a fantastic start from Tony Bellew, for Usyk to then turn it around and finish in the way in which he did, you just have to give Usyk massive praise and, you know, accolades. He deserves everything. But Tony Bellew also, what a performance, what a start. That left cross, that looping left cross there, which we've not seen yet on the replay, that put Tony Bellew down, was a shot. Tony Bellew kind of doesn't know where he is yet, but he will watch that back and he'll realise.
It was a spectacular shot from a fighter who seems to have so much. It came out of the blue, but at a time where Bellew just couldn't take something like that.
And Adam, I'm gonna disagree. It didn't come out of the blue. It was an adjustment Usyk had made a couple of rounds ago, adjusting the way he threw that left hand. He kept whipping it around the side, while earlier he had been throwing it straight. And once he started making that adjustment, Bellew never adjusted back to it. He never made adjustment to the fact that Usyk changed the trajectory of the way he was throwing his left hand. It's the shot that hurt him at the end of one of the rounds. It was the shot that started landing consistently, and ultimately it was the shot that knocked him out.
And he disguised it brilliantly, though. He'd worked on it, he found the opening, and boom, he was never getting up and going on from that, and Dave Caldwell did the right thing.
No, and Usyk, as he kept landing those wider shots, he kept landing those wider shots, he started throwing them a little harder.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed in that round was the first time in the whole fight, Tony Bellew clinched. He had a look in his face. He had a look in his face that he didn't see before that. You know, his nose was bleeding, and he took his foot off the pace. And, you know, Usyk seemed to grow in confidence. He seemed more solid, more accurate.
I noticed after round 5, David, that, you know, Usyk was coming into the fight looking relaxed and confident, and when them shots started landing,
Tony Bellew was 3 rounds up on one card, 1 on another, and level on the third. But Oleksandr Usyk had the momentum and found the big punch to finish it. And you're right, Paulie, it was so clever.
And honestly, and I'm looking at my card now, I had it even as well.
Yeah, I had it 1 round for Bellew going into that round there.
I don't think anyone can argue. Tony Bellew had such a great start. Fantastic. It was a couple of rounds at least ahead going into that point, but I said that Usyk was starting to enjoy himself, starting to find his rhythm and get into the fight, and you saw that quality there. As Tony Bellew fatigued and started to show signs of wear and tear, Usyk was able to step on the gas and produce that kind of performance. Tony Bellew devastated there, but he's got nothing to be.
Yes.
You know, he should be very proud of himself.
A very commendable performance by Bellew. He made the undisputed champion sweat. At 36 years old, when everybody's counting him out, he made him sweat. Now, at the time of the stoppage, the momentum was going for Usyk, so the second half of the fight would have become very difficult for Bellew. But having said that, credit where credit is due. Bellew made Usyk sweat, and Bellew made Usyk think.
Yep, very good start for Tony Bellew, but Oleksandr Usyk adapted, and he showed his ring craft and ring experience, and it is devastating for Tony Bellew, who just wanted to go out on a high at the end, but what he's done in the last 3 or 4 years has been exceptional from where he was in the sport. And he can be very proud of those achievements. But ultimately, Oleksandr Usyk, a special talent and a special finish.
Well, Tony Bellew was boxing really well from the start. Well, there's the finish there that came at the end. And Bellew was tired there when that left cross landed. And there was no way really of recovering. I'm glad this fight was stopped there, because he would have carried on.
And as Paulie said, he'd tried it a couple of times before, but it was disguised beautifully. Bellew didn't see it at all.
And disguised by a good jab, but again, it was the adjustment Usyk made, a key adjustment he made a few rounds ago. And Bellew, when a guy adjusts to you, you have to adjust back, and Bellew never adjusted to that wide left hand Usyk started throwing.
There was a left cross that landed there momentarily that just shook the legs right before that big looping left cross landed, and you could see that every decent shot of Usyk that landed did cause problems for Tony Bellew.
Yeah, the shot that he got hit with were shots he was slipping earlier on. His reflexes and timing seemed to slow as his energy did. So that shot there, he probably could take that in the first or second round. But when you're tired, when you're moving away from the shot, you know, it has devastating effects.
The effects of them punches are amplified massively when you're tired, and you saw that, and there's the effect of that looping left cross that lands by the quality operator in Oleksandr Usyk. And Tony Bellew left devastated on the floor there, but real magnanimous performance, great, brave performance, nothing to be ashamed of.